Good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome on behalf of Manhattan Meditation Center and Peace Village and Retreat Center of Brahma Kumaris. My name is Anita, and I extend once again a very warm welcome to all of you. So this is our last session for the year 2023. I don't like to think it that way, that year has come to an end. I like to think the new year is, right around the corner and a new beginning. So before we dive into today's topic, very quickly, what Manhattan Center offers as community services. I know you might all be aware, but I still like to mention that all our services are free of charge. Any of the talks or meditation courses or anything else we offer. So we do this Thursday talk anyway. You're aware of it every Thursday. Recordings of these talks or the previous talks are available on our YouTube channel. And we offer live meditation twice a day, Monday to Friday in the afternoon, Power Boost for 15 to 20 minutes. That's online only. And then we offer in-person meditation at the center in the evening from 6 to 6:30, which is called Sanctuary of Peace. We offer meditation courses, short ones, which are just for 2 days, and we are starting them from February. We also offer 7-day Raj Yoga meditation course, which is called Reviving the Higher Self. For 2024, we will announce the dates pretty soon. We have also started a platform of short meditation and some chit-chats as a podcast. You can access them on our website, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, and Amazon Music. So we are available in a lot of modes of communication, whatever is easy and accessible for you. Recordings of the meditations, what we offer during the day, are also available on our YouTube channel. There's a list called Power Boost. So you can just, if you ever want to practice any meditation, by taking a guided commentary, you can click on that. Today's topic, celebrating inner victories. I think often we want to take a step back and just reflect how the journey has been, what we have been doing, what we want to do. And as we come to the end of something, especially end of the year, this is kind of one big topic everywhere. It's being talked, right? CNN also has heroes of 2023 and whatnot, and person of the year. But at the individual level also, we do some reflections, right? I'm sure all of you must also be going through that, how my 2023 has been. So when I looked at this topic and I was thinking about it, my thoughts were kind of a little bit different, I feel, maybe. So let me share. I felt the victories manifest externally, right? But the growth is inner. When I say growth, I'm talking about our mindset, our perspective, our attitude, our approach to things, right? And the journey is not just limited to or just for 2023, but whatever we have accomplished or yet to accomplish, and it's still kind of unfinished in 2023. It's not just about 23 alone. It's a cumulative effect of the journey so far we had, right? What do I mean by that? When I was reflecting on it, I was also I realized that we have a lot of situations we have in terms of tasks, jobs, also in terms of people, how we deal with and all. And they keep changing day to day, year to year and all. And we look them as victories or failures and all, right? And that's okay. But the principle behind them, how the outcome has, what the outcome is, that remains the same, right? I was uh, like I was saying, I was reflecting on this topic for myself, and I realized decades ago I was in a situation. It was my first job, and I'm a person with a very clear mind, what I need to do and how I need to do, and it was my first job, and I had to come out of my home, and I came to USA, and I was in a situation where um, I just couldn't choose my clear path. I was not sure what to do. Everywhere, everyone was saying, you're too inexperienced. It's very tough. The seat is very complicated. You don't have the maturity. You don't have the experience. And I started thinking on those lines. And I spent first 3-4 months to move away from that seat, get transferred to somewhere else. And when it didn't happen, then I one day I just got tired. I went back home and I sat down and I'm like, what are you doing, Anita? Why this is so difficult and I'm not able to find my path forward? And then I decided I'm not going to focus on what anyone else is saying, right? About me or about the work. I'm just going to focus on the work assigned to me and do my best to complete it. And I was on that job for 3 years. I had staff of 30 plus people. And once I decided that, right, things started falling in place and helped a lot of people. It was a public dealing seat. And then uh, the underlying principle, what came out of the whole situation to me is, right, when I traveled back, I'm from India. When I traveled back to India, right, there were a lot of people. When I was doing the job, I had no idea how anyone is perceiving it and how anyone is getting impacted by it or anything. I was just focused on us delivering the assigned task, and my staff just supported in every possible way. But when I went to India and I saw the impact of it, then I started thinking, what has resulted into all this? Why I was able to, that kind of outcome, positive outcome, what was the reason for it? And the realization came that once I decided, right, I didn't label the situation as difficult, easy, or impossible, right? I just took it as a task and I focused on finding out what is my first step and what is next and what is next after that. One more realization came that was my approach to life in general until I came out of the house and I was alone on my own. And then also the realization came that although I was approaching everything like that, but I didn't have the awareness that is what my uh, natural way of doing work is, right? So you can take it like when I was living at home with parents, right? I deal with people who has filtered through them and limited number of people and all, and it was easy to see the path, see the next step. But when I came out and I am on my own, I'm among people whom I have not known. I'm in a country which I'm not familiar with. Everything is just absolutely new. And I had to do the filtering myself. And I was distracted by other people's opinion. And I forgot my natural way of attempting things, right? So once that realization has come into my awareness, I use that for everything in my life. That was a victory. And the internal growth is the realization that no matter what the situation is, whether it's a task or a person in front of me, approach is same, right? You don't label things. I don't label things. I just say, okay, what is my first step? And that you know kind of gives me that victory or triumph, what you call, in 23 or 22 or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. And I'm hoping it'll continue in 24. So whenever we are looking about our inner victories or inner, goals, and I think there are not too many different ways to approach thing in life. That's where I feel like a lot of us get lost and distracted and confused, and we keep making lists because you say, okay, for whole list of tasks what we want to do, and we achieve some and we don't achieve some, and then we try to define our approach for each and every one. I hope I'm able to convey my point. But in my personal journey and my personal experience, I've realized that there are not too many different ways to live life. There are only few fundamental things. And if we can figure out those things, right, then the journey of life is peaceful, it's enjoyable, it's joyful. One more thing I would like to share is that no labeling of situations and people. There are people all the time, right? Some a little closer in the circle, some little they're little they're not closely related, a little far away, and mind processes or their information or their how we impact a little differently. It was easy to kind of tune everyone out in my job, like their opinion, because they're not related to me. And once I got married and I had children and all, and I noticed that I'm not very apt at using the same principle when my children say something to me. So that was, in the process of growth towards victory, that was my next step for my internal growth. That how to deal with your opinion of people who are very close to you. And then my kids are very, very uh, articulate, and they express themselves real freely. and there I use the figured out the fundamental rule for myself is that they can have their opinion and they're welcome to it, right? But I choose my path. Their journey is their journey. Whatever I'm going to do, that's my decision. And I don't, how do I say, I don't judge them. I don't criticize them. I don't try to, that's another kind of labeling we do, right? When it comes to people, we kind of put them in, somebody said good, somebody said bad, somebody said, it took me some time to understand that and kind of, I won't say I'm master of it, but I'm much, much better than it. And that helps to score victories at home because everyone has an opinion about everything, and that's okay. But I just don't take it. And I so my journey and my triumphs for 2023 is the cumulative effect of the journey what I had so far, and it just became much better at the personal level and much easier after I have come in the contact of Brahma Kumaris, because the spiritual perspective of the things, right? How to look at the inner factors and internal growth, that is taught very well in our everyday teachings, and very, very useful. And I use all those what I learned. I try to use them every day. I won't say I don't fail, but I'll say I succeed more than I used to. And personally, I'm very peaceful. um, so that was my journey through the 2023. I'm going to invite Sister Ines Frank to share her thoughts on today's topic. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
So, good evening. Welcome. We have a very, very nice group here at the center. We're about 13 altogether, 14 even. And some are here for the very first time, right? Anyone else? No, everyone else has been here. You have been here before? Your first time too? Very welcome. Warm welcome. Yeah. And we also have many friends on Zoom. Sometimes they are here too, but not today. So very warm welcome again to everyone and to our Thursday evening, the last one in the old year, right? So what we do at this time is we also give and spend some time to look back. But to look back also for us means to look inside and reflect on what went well, you know. So we all had successes, inner victories, winning moments, winning situations in different contexts, right? So it's good to, at this point in time, to give space and time to consciously remember and reawaken those moments, appreciate them. And even though maybe they have been, or I consider them maybe just to be very small, but every moment, you know, where I was able to do something good, to have a good thought, to say something good, to maybe even put a smile on my face, or the way I look at my eyes, appreciate someone, acknowledge someone's presence, what someone has been doing, or even in relationship with nature, to be a little bit more thoughtful and less selfish, or even in relationship with our own self. For is a relationship we usually don't give much time to, but is something that we learn to do so in a very beneficial way when we embark on a spiritual journey, which is a journey inward, right? So it helps us to become aware, make note, take note, become aware of certain thoughts, feelings, attitudes, intentions, or motives that I have, that I carry within me. And of course, there are so many memories of what we have done and what also others, my relationship of, you know, what I took in from the outside through others. And so one thing when we look back in this life, in this year, and you know, we want to focus on what went well. And there is always a reason where I could think I could have done better. If only that would have been the situation, or if only that would have been, I could have, right? But to take the courage, and maybe at one point it was just an intention, a good intention that I had, but for whatever reason, I wasn't able to manifest it in this way. But to have the respect for the self and the honesty to even acknowledge that intention that I had, because it is a big thing already. It's a big step to acknowledge that. Remind yourself and give value to it. Because how the new year is approaching, and of course, we all want to contribute goodness. We want to do good. We want to be good. We want to give our best. We want to be our best at any given moment in any situation. So how can we do that? What can I do to create that experience more and more for myself and also for those around me, and maybe even, the larger family in this larger human family. It starts with an act of maybe kindness, honesty, self-respect towards the self, an act of goodness, of appreciation towards the self. Maybe most of the year I've been struggling, and I can get lost in that. I may want to look for what I did well or what goodness I contributed to this world, but then I get lost in all the different reasons what went wrong and all of that, right? So that is not an act of goodness. So an inner victory is experienced when we go against our default. Because our default is many times not what we desire, right? Is very reactive, or I start to withdraw my love from others. I get angry, I get upset, becoming critical. And of course, there are other emotions also, and ways to diminish relationships. But it is very important that I learn to have a very good relationship with my own self and start to give or perform acts of goodness towards myself, learn to relate to myself in a beneficial way. And for that, I will have to use goodness, kindness, respect, love. What else? What other qualities do we need in life? Generosity, very important one, right? What else? Patience, very important, exactly. Acceptance, right? And so I learned to build these inner victories by actually teaching myself to be friendly, to be benevolent, to be good to my own self. In other words, I have to remember my highest potential, but then also, and that's the key, what's my attitude towards weaknesses or deficiencies, such as, when anger emerges, impatience emerges, maybe inferiority, or maybe there can be arrogance, unhappiness, sadness, or maybe I'm not getting the results that I want as quickly as I want. Maybe I would have liked to do more and better, and I only had capacity to do that much. So what's my attitude towards myself when things don't go the way I wanted or I expected? Do you understand? And this is where I think victory begins. Victory is something that we experience within. Success is more used in terms of outer successes and win winning moments. And there are different kinds of types of success in different contexts, different levels. But the victory is really within. And when there is victory, of course, what's the opposite? There can be defeat, right? And victory also implies that I have to be victorious over someone, something, right? So we are used to win over, to be victorious over someone, over something. And many times it's someone, something on the outside. It's somewhere at the physical level. But we are not necessarily aware that actually in each one of us, there are also some enemies. Actually, only one, big one, but there's a big family of that one. So our enemies are actually really not on the outside. They are neither people nor nature. The inner enemy is connected to a certain ignorance that I have developed, a certain weakness that I have developed over a period of time. And I start to believe it is true. I start to believe I'm something or someone in a certain way. You know, that's the way how I speak with people. Maybe I'm not very respectful, maybe I'm shouting, loud noise and all of that. But that's how I speak. But maybe there's a different way of speaking. Maybe I used to speak differently at some time. So the inner victories are when we overcome certain lower tendencies, lower energies, from which we know they don't make us happy. And when I act based on that anger, if I get angry, it's not healthy for me, but then also it destroys, it creates a lot of damage in relationships, right? So maybe there's temporary a feeling of you know, satisfaction, but it's only very short-living, and it's certainly not fulfilling. So when we have the courage to actually see a bigger picture of the self, have a vision, and then eventually the conviction that I am a being of goodness, having a vision that is beneficial for the self and upholding that for the self, and then use the light of peace, love, respect, and all the beautiful qualities that emerge from those to actually bring myself, coach myself, guide myself, teach myself to actually use them. And part of that is then also to appreciate, appreciate the effort that you're making, appreciate the energy that you put in, appreciate your pure intention, acknowledge the small victories within steps, thoughts of goodness. Does that make sense? Because this is how I relate to myself. Do you ever need or want to be acknowledged by someone? And how does it feel if someone acknowledges your presence, acknowledges your contribution, appreciates your being here, your participation? It feels good, right? And so we have created a lot of this kind of dependencies. We want it, we need it, and we want it, and we expect it from others to give it to us. But that is actually the road down to hell. Sometimes we will get it, other times we will not get it. So I become a puppet of the mood of others. And then, of course, we also start to blame, point the finger, making them responsible for how I feel and what my experience is. So the more we take responsibility for the self and learn to relate to the self in a very beautiful way, make your own mind your best friend. Yeah? Because all the thoughts and all the craziness actually showing up in our minds. From people, situations, we can distance ourselves, but not from our mind. And so it is good to take time from time to time and quality time and look at your own mind and with determination create pure thoughts, create thoughts of benefit. And because there's duality inside, we all have that angel within, but also we all have that other one within. So the victory begins when I emerge the awareness of the angel, of the goodness within. Like I said earlier, there might be 10 reasons why I think I don't have, I can't. But that's where the courage comes in. And maybe also the generosity, the honesty, the willingness to turn towards myself and give myself something that is of value instead of only wanting to be with others and interact with others. Is very important. In the bigger context, we are all one family, right? And we are social beings. Isolation is not natural to us. It is not natural for us to be isolated, disconnected from each other. There is actually this beautiful energy of pure love that connects all of us. Yeah. And as long as I'm tuned into this vibration, into this pure feeling, and I will always feel connected, even though maybe physically we are not so close. But the moment I allow that love to flow, a thought of kindness, a thought of care, a thought of love for someone, there is a connection. You feel connected. And your thought also will be received. It finds its target. But where the love is coming from? Where do I take the love from? To feel also connected with others. It has to come from me, right? But then where to take it from? So if I'm day after day, only moment after moment, only busy with what I have to do and about all the needs in relation to this physical world, and maybe it's only about family or mostly about family, most of their thoughts are about their pet, maybe, their dog, their cat, or their job, or money, and their entire energy, everything revolves around money, no? Could be someone, could be something. And we expect something in return. We want to get something out. We want to feel either safe or I take my esteem from what I have or what I do. And so to put a stop, a pause temporarily from all of that and look in another direction, look inward, connecting with the self. Remind yourself about your inner goodness, about your own love. Emerge that feeling. Have interest to care, to be kind. Have the interest in relationship, and relationships are meant to give happiness, right? To experience happiness. So if I talk to myself in a meaningful way, in an encouraging way, in a kind way, friendly manner, if I learn to be with myself, if I learn to be loving towards myself, I will also be able to loving to others, kind to others. But I have to emerge that vibration has to come from within me. And it starts with a thought. I may think I don't have, but that thought will never give you the experience of or bring you close to your love, right? So it takes courage. Or remind yourself a time where you had that experience. Remind yourself about these good things and reawaken them consciously, with that intention and that thought. And it will emerge. You will feel good and the world will be good. Because that's when I feel good, right? And then I look around, everything is good because the cup is half full and not half empty. But if I only depend and depend on others, depend on the job, maybe, want, expect, and then even maybe demand, I can never feel happy. I can never feel truly content. I'm coming from an empty space, from a consciousness that is engrossed in the obvious, in the visible, with, all the dramas, the problems, situations that are going on. And of course, when I myself in a space of emptiness, when I'm relating to the world from a place of deficiency, I don't know, I don't have, I need, I want. How will I perceive the surrounding? How will I perceive the world? How will I perceive people? Then oh, life is against me. I will only see the problems and more problems and more problems, and this is not working and that is not working, and this one is behaving like this and it should be like that, pain here, pain there. So I'm coming from a mindset that is very poor, that is like a beggar. We don't create it at the consciously, of course, but over a long period of time, if we don't pay attention on the self, if we don't remind the self, connect to the self and remind the self of our more subtle inner treasures, what life makes worthwhile to live is if you feel love, if you feel loved, if you are happy, right? And so that is something that we actually need to first create within our own selves. And it's very easy. And I think in a one way to close the old year, the time that has passed, right? A good way is to consciously remind of myself about at least few things that went well, acknowledge, appreciate it. There may be some situations that didn't go so well, but with a clear mind, a pure intention, let me learn from it. What is it that I can do differently next time so that I don't have to make the same mistake again? So again, when I look with an attitude, from a mindset that is full, that is generous, where treasures are available, where there is light, then I'm willing to learn. Mistakes or what did not work out is not a devastation for me, right? A failure is not a big thing. And then also that other thought I had going into the new year, maybe if I reflect, and it's good to take pen and paper. You can even write down things. It is very supportive. It's very useful to clear the mind, to bring clarity or more clarity. And okay, maybe there were only few things that I did well, or where I really intentionally used some good qualities. But can I set an aim and intention for the new year? And then without big expectation or being over-focused on the result, can I just, start few moments giving to myself? Learn to be familiar with myself, with my inner world. Learn to be silent also. Silent where I can refresh. A silence where the mind is peaceful, the mind is calm. I'm connected. with the heart of the soul, with the core of my being, which is good? Can I let go and forgive and close the old year so that my mind and my heart are free? Am I willing to let go? And am I open for a new start? Hmm? So on the one hand is the closing, and on the other hand is the opening of a new account, right? And actually, if you a way I like to look at time is that actually every moment is a new moment. Every moment is a new beginning. And when babies, little ones learn to walk, I like that example because, we all at one point learned to walk. We couldn't do that immediately. At the beginning, you can't even crawl properly. It takes time. And how many times the little one rolls over, falls down, never gets fed up. But why do we get fed up with our own selves? And we get fed up with others because we can't get what we want. So we are actually fed up with our own self. So it always comes back to the self. And as according to time in the world, everything becomes more turbulent and hectic, chaotic, and dangerous even. The world needs our light, the world needs our support, but it starts with me, and it starts within me, and it starts with my relationship with myself. And then, of course, those who believe in a higher power, in God, in a God that is benevolent, a being that is there for me, a being that is moment by moment bestowing on us, who has unconditional love for all of us, being that is actually willing to guide us and has the power to guide us back, reconnect us to our own inner truth and power, peace and love. I can reach out through the power of thought with a pure intention. And I don't need to beg or ask again. When I relate to myself, I first bring myself into a mindset where I am full and complete, where I am coming from a place of fullness. I'm aware, acknowledging my goodness, even though it's not expressed every moment, but originally, this is how I started. And so that thought, those kind of thoughts, if I give that to my own self, that then becomes the springboard, what connects me with the divine, with the supreme being, the ocean of peace, the ocean of love, completely benevolent, and probably knows us better than we know our own selves. Because we are all 8 billion plus. Who can us really help when it comes to this subtle dimension, to this more intangible experiences and qualities, that pure peace and love? So an inner victory is when I reconnect to my own light. I think that's where it starts. And which creates a foundation or an inner strength where I can then also extend my light into the world and be there for those who haven't found their own light. So instead of having too much empathy or feeling sorry or getting upset what people do to each other, it takes a lot of strength and courage to actually uphold a vision of love and kindness. Because the one who behaves violently needs a lot of love, actually, because there's pain and sorrow inside. And then the victim, same, no? Both are sides of the ego. But when I want to have true self-respect, if I really want to have self-respect, I have to step out of the ego. I have to connect to the essence of who I truly am. And I have to have that faith, that conviction. Yes, that commitment. And this will then also allow me, when I connect to others, to connect to their light, even though it is not expressed. But I can uphold it for myself. I can do that also for others. And that comes down to my own, how much I respect, value my own light. I can then respect also the light of others, even though there is darkness around. But this is how hope is created, no? Okay, so I'll stop here. If there are any, I don't know, questions, if anyone has a comment, you're most welcome to share. Yes, and we have a microphone if you would like to use that so that our Zoom family also can hear you.
So thank you, sister. So many thoughts and so many important topics that you touched on. So I hope I can make this sensical. When you were talking about influences, right? So it's either the encouragement or the opposition. And encouragement, right? The person or the thought that reinforces our confidence, and the opposition is the one that sows the seeds of doubt. So what are we paying attention to? And then it goes into, as well as the inner victory. If we're seen by somebody else and recognized and validated, that's wonderful. When we seek it, then that's kind of, the road is hellish, because we're just waiting on someone else to tell us, great job, instead of we tell it to ourselves. And then the emptiness that you spoke of, it's like, if it's emptiness is not a bad thing. Just depends on, am I empty, like I'm ready to be filled up again? Or am I looking at it as emptiness, like lack and fear? And I forgot what you said, what word you used, but it's just,
insecurity.
yeah, insecurity, rather than knowing that I am able to rely on myself. And then one of the last things that you mentioned is when you have the year in review. It's like I was thinking that yes, we should reflect on things that went well. And then also recognize things that maybe we didn't do so well. But that's it. The same type of if I'm looking at something that I did well, that went well, and I had something to do with it, great. I can do it again. Or, yeah. But if we're seeking validation from others and it's just something that happened that was good, but it didn't really have something to do with me or my effort, then if I keep looking for that to repeat, I'm going to kind of go down that wanting and seeking and waiting for something external. So the same thing on when we look at things that didn't go so well. If it's something that I had something to do with, then maybe I can reflect on what not to do again. And then if it's something that just kind of I was involved in, but I didn't create, then also not attach myself to that negativity. So anyway, thank you. All of the things that you said, that's what it made me start thinking.
Yeah, the only one thing I would like to reinforce is like you were saying that looking back at something that maybe did not go so well, to look at negativity, perceiving negativity actually from with an attitude of when the cup is half full. Then I don't have to fear the negativity. I am not it. I can look at it. And I can become even more strong and use my gifts, my goodness to overcome what is not so good, right? So that whole attitude towards what we call label as negativity, to even look at that, and even though it is violent, to look at it in a more neutral way, because if I don't like, if I hate, if I is not good, not good, not good, not good, it can never become good. And I become not good. I'm also drowning by thinking about, something can never become good. It's only bad, it's only problem. But there's a solution to everything. Okay, anything else?
Thank you, sister. My question is, sometimes it's hard to see yourself. Sometimes it's hard to see yourself if it's you that caused the problem, but you face with the problem. So what do you think is the best way to deal with your feelings, even though you don't know if you cause it, you think you're right, or you think you're doing the right thing, but it still didn't go the right thing. So that's really difficult to even, I don't know how to deal with the emotion.
Yeah, that's an important common one. One is that there's always something I can do better or in a better way. There's always space for improvement. But the first and most important step is to come back to myself and to have the courage by coming back to myself, not to get stuck in that emotion, but I have to consciously create that awareness of my original eternal goodness. I have to do that, give that to myself. it takes courage, it creates newness and power and hope. But this is my responsibility. And even if I make a mistake and I have hurt the feelings of someone, to have the honesty to face it, wow, I really have hurt the feelings of that one. She's now really sad because of what I said. Do not punish the self. Have the courage to face it. Realize the mistake I did and let go. Do not keep repenting, but re-emerge your goodness. Empower yourself. You have the right to do that. And it's our responsibility. It's the only way to move forward. No one in the world is teaching or learning or teaching us in this way. But this is what God wants us to do. Because if I keep repenting, I will just keep drowning. There's nothing can become better or change for the better if we keep repenting. It's a form of punishment that we came to believe we need to give to the self, which is shame is even worse. Guilt, they are all very, very dark energy. They are in existence for different reasons, and even if I didn't make a mistake, but that one's feelings are hurt, maybe there is something in future that I can do differently, maybe more considerate or more, have to be maybe more alert about the needs of the other one. If there is self-respect, I even have that generosity for the self I can improve. There's no point to blame the self again, but just move back into your self-respect. And when it comes to mistakes that I've made, face it, move back into my self-respect and learn from my mistakes. But I want to say that in that dynamic, I really have learned from God, because Supreme Being is the only being that will always forgive and always uplift. But the Supreme Being, the ocean of love, is also interested that we learn our lessons. But He will give us and support us with His pure unconditional love until we have learned the lesson. You understand? And I think this is a crucial part. That is very important for the self to be uplifted, that we learn we face it, learn from it and let go, not to keep, swimming, hanging in this sadness, in this even shameful feelings or guilt. No? Does it make?
I don't think I don't feel guilt or something, but the emotion there, you feel the emotion.
Yes.
And you're more emotional, so everything will affect you. So to deal with that emotion, maybe not the cause, but to live around people and feel your emotion and then be stable is not easy.
Yeah. Maybe because it's a bigger topic, how to overcome these emotions, we can maybe separately talk about this, right? Start, you will give them the tole. Yeah. So we are also over time. And let us close with a short reflection, if that is okay. So sit comfortably, relaxed. Just emerge that awareness of being a being of goodness. I take that step of courage to awaken the light within. I believe in goodness, and I have that conviction, that faith, that I started my journey, whenever that was, as a being of light, a being of goodness, a being of peace, being of love, truth. strength, and wisdom. I have the right as a living being to be myself and to experience all my inner beauty. It is my responsibility to remind myself about this, to be patient with the self in guiding myself back. Listen to my conscience, follow my conscience. Give that love and respect to the self so that I can share that with everyone around me. Not only share, but it becomes a source of empowerment, source of upliftment for those who receive it. Let me be a light in this world to go beyond the obvious and the visible, go beyond the sound and the noise, and hold the attention on the eternal light, the eternal goodness. The more victories I create within, the more I celebrate, value, appreciate, the more the light will spread. And others learn to create their own inner victories. Be that light for yourself and ignite many other lights. Om Shanti. Thank you. And hope to see many of you also on. We have a New Year's Eve program between 5 and 7:30, and we want to make this a little bit special also. So whoever can join, you're most welcome. Om Shanti. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone. And
Good night, everyone.
Good
Om
night.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Good night.
You all the wisdom and the strength, please. Om Shanti.
Very nice meeting you. Good night and see you soon.